Hi, welcome back to the Noodle Room. I've been reading this book called The Way of the Artist. I think that's the name. And I sort of wanted to talk about it, although I'm still in chapter 4. I'm not even sure how many chapters it has, but I know it has like exercises. They're both artistic and to make you feel good and see what your flow is. I think I'm gonna make this like a two-parter talking about this book because I want to try out some of the exercises and tell you what I think about it. My first impression, I don't know if it's the series I got it translated in Spanish, and it feels like they mixed up the order of the book, but my first impression is that it's a bit religious, although it can be unintentionally religious. It just very much definitely talks about like a bigger than you type of power, and it mentions God. It mentions God a lot, although it's referring to whichever type of God you believe in, but it does talk about something bigger than you. And it also talks about waking up something that you've probably already felt. So the book opens up about her knowledge, sort of her figuring out that she can unlock the block of an artist, and that she sort of unpurposefully dedicated her life to helping other artists unlock their full potential, sort of. Although I only listen to it in Spanish, but she doesn't mention the actual word full potential. But yeah, it's kind of tricky because I'm already in chapter 4, and yeah, my biggest impression is that let me think about this. Hold on. Okay, yeah. I gathered my thoughts. Okay, my biggest impression is that it's not a how-to guide. Obviously, that would be a scam if it's how to become an artist. Because it's much more difficult. It's a lot of inner work. And that's what she talks about. She talks about waking up like your dormant artist. The artist that you've had on your inside since you were a kid. And that maybe you've been trying to wake it up like the movies do, or like in different unhealthy coping ways. So she talks about the artist, sort of like the dramatic artist that we see on theater and we see on the movies. Those artists that, especially musical artists, well, I'm basically, I don't know, resuming the chapters, but she talks about a lot of musical artists. We always see the suffering artist, the piano player that's just drinking away his feelings. And yeah, she mentions that even if some artists do feel their creative awakening by the help of unhealthy coping mechanisms like drinking and addictions and stuff like that, she also talks about that there's always a creative window, and it's very, very small when you're under the influence of something, or when you're dependent on something else to help you feel creative. So it creates sort of a chain of dependence. So you need money to get the substance, and you go out to get in the mood, to get the vibe, to only have all of this preparation to then only be on this creative window for about, I don't know, 3 hours, and then you take a break and you sober up a little bit, maybe drink a little bit more, and sort of do this dance, which can be unhelpful because the day has so many hours and your creativeness has so many hours on the window, and you get tired and you get sluggish, and if we're actually talking about alcohol, you get sleepy and then you don't actually work. So she talks a lot of feeling the same state and having the same power without all of these additives to your vibe. And the way she approaches it is sort of I'm not sure if it's like a paganistic religious sort of complex, because it's a very structured. She gives an example about writing, and her example is basically, so instead of trying to get in the mood and having the perfect lighting, and then, or going to the store and getting a bottle of wine so you can write, or putting on a song and dancing first and then sitting down to write, or having the perfect climate, just get 3 pages out. Just like your purpose and your focus should not be the ambient to let the muse out. The purpose should be getting the first 2 pages out, and then after you get the 2 pages out, then you can maybe focus on, I don't know, getting the perfect ambience and rereading what you already wrote and seeing if you want to edit something out, but not focusing on the everything, focusing on the art. And on chapter 3 and the initial part of chapter 4, she very much relates art and the artist as a subject, and it's God. And she gives out many quotes of different artists, or actually not necessarily artists, just people that give out their life to their craft, like astronauts or mathematicians, that the point is you sort of live to create, and your art becomes your religion. So whatever works for you to be creative without so many pauses and dependencies, so you can actually create and live, not just create to die. I don't know if it's making sense, but it's a very, very interesting perspective. Of course, every time I am not religious at all, so every time she mentions God, and there was whole 2 chapters that all she talks about is God, made me feel weird, because I do understand where she's going with it, but I can also tell that she herself is very religious, and she's trying to be as open as she can, because obviously not every artist is religious. But yeah, hold on. Let me see my notes. I think I spoke about everything just truly fast. Anyways, I'm only halfway through the book, and it's taught me that to be an artist, there's a lot of pressures that you just need to release. You just need to let go of so many expectations and so many, like the whole focus of the ambience. Well, I'm paraphrasing. She didn't say it exactly like this, but the ambience is you. The ambience is your religion, which is your art, which is your creativity. You're trying to let it out. So that is the ambience. You don't need outer things around your room to create an ambience. You are the ambience, and you're actually trying to let it out. So that was very, very interesting, and it's got me thinking. I want to know if anyone has read this book, and if you have any opinions about it, what you think about it. I'm going to try to do some of the exercises and talk about that on part 2 if I finish the book. Yeah, I don't even know how many chapters it is, but it's really got me thinking. Because there is just so much pressure to create, and it's so competitive. But creating itself, it's allowing yourself to believe. Which is funny now that she related it to religion and having your own God. It makes a lot of sense, that theory and how she puts it. It's easy to see after you analyze it. But anyways, that's my part 1. On this day, I decided to doodle this tiger. The original design is not mine. I'm giving it like a mix to the design, and I'm adding extra things. I think I didn't get the whole footage. There are a lot of gaps when I was choosing the colors and when I started painting the tiger's body itself. I really, really like these markers at the moment, and I'm honestly playing with the colors. I think I'm gonna tell you when it is. I figured out that one of the colors paints on white. No, it's not that one. But yeah, I think this is a very cute design, and I think I like cute designs. And it's sort of easy. The hardest part was to color it and to figure out its inner design, like the flowers and the placement of the other flowers that I'm gonna place around the tiger itself. I really like the eyebrows. The placement of the eyebrows is not original. The eyebrows were like that from the original artist. I very, very much like it. It makes it look even cuter. And the flowers on the tiny legs. They're so cute. Oh my goodness. I don't know what else to talk about. I feel like I didn't go in depth with the almost 4 chapters that I read. I just breezed through the topic. Maybe I got nervous and rambled a little bit too much. While we get to the color that I was mentioning that creates the effect that I want to talk about, I did my own nails. I don't know if you can tell. I already have to change them. They were Halloween themed. Super, super cute. I think it was pretty hard to design my own nails. But yeah. Oh, I love the tail. Isn't the tail so cute? It's so cute. I love it. What am I gonna use the color? Okay, so the color is pink, and it gives a bloom effect, sort of like the bloom effect you would get on gel nails. But it creates a bloom effect on the alcohol marker. So if you put that pink on top of the orange, which is what I'm about to do eventually, it sort of disperses the orange and it creates like a white or a grayish, because you can see the color of the page itself, and it looks great. It's amazing. It's a hack. It doesn't give out the pink that I was looking for, but it's like a special effect that it was an accident, and I'm just gonna go with it at the end. You're gonna see it. I'm just gonna roll with it, and I'm gonna add that pink to a lot of the tiger. Maybe you can see it on the camera, maybe not. But yeah, this is my design. Thank you for being here today, and I hope you enjoyed this small chat in the Noodle Room. I hope we all analyze that to be an artist, we need to be gentle with ourselves. And that's it. That's all. Bye.